Okay, we're live.
Hello, everyone. It is Friday, the 5th of April, 2019. And I want to welcome everybody. We are not using the conference call today. I can manipulate it. So if you want to get a message or a question, comment, use the little chatty thingy. And Mary Ellen will pass it on to me. Today, as I have told y'all, will be the last day of this program. I want to make special note to all of the people that have been supporters and have helped the program. We will continue on. But just to be up here for the numbers of people that listen but do not do anything, I'm just not going to do that. We are at a point in time where it's serious, it's real. I mean, folks, this is it. This is not a time to have business as usual. This is not a time to think everything's just going to be hunky-dory. It's not. We are in the actual battle for this nation. Every day, more and more signs are appearing showing that socialism is making its final big push. And guys, you're either going to engage in trying to resist it and stop it, or to be quite honest, you're going to be supporting it. I hope, no matter what, all of you find some way, somewhere, to get involved. And that doesn't mean just listen and learn. And it certainly doesn't mean buying every one of these conspiracy things on the internet that comes down the pike. There's enough truth out there to make you see that this country's in jeopardy. Now, one of the things that I must do is apologize to all of you for failing you. I had hoped that we could do this program and we could grow an army and be in position to stand ready to fight when it was time. I have failed. So, please forgive me. And one of the hardest things I've had to do is looking at all of the hundreds of people that have listened, that have not done anything, lifted a finger. I've had to forgive because I was pretty bitter about that. So please understand, I have put everything in my world into this, everything. As has Mary Ellen, as has a few others committed at that level. But for me to be forgiven, I've got to forgive those that have not engaged and may not at any time in the future even engage. So, with that said, I did Pastor Sanders last night, excuse me, and I got a call from a caller called in and said I think his name was Harry, and he wanted to clear the air on a matter. And his question was, was it true that I watched Hillary shoot Vince Foster and that I wrapped him up in a blanket and took him to Fort Marcy Park? Now, let me answer that directly to all of you. No. As I told him, trying to maintain some level of civility, I had long since left the Clintons by the time of Vince Foster's death. I had left the Clintons before he ever became president. More than that, most everything you know about the death of Vince Foster given the fact that they moved the body and the oddities related to that death came from me. So this is another one of those things that's out there about me, apparently, that I have to live with. But I hope y'all understand. It's kind of hard to believe people would believe stuff like that. But they're out there. And that makes it even harder still for me to do the job that I'm tasked to do, which is to grow an army, try to stop this madness. Let's get back to business at hand. Here's what's going to happen. Excuse me. Much as I have told you, you're seeing now that the Mueller report is going to be used once the information's out to impeach Trump. Now, I know that according to law, based off the recommendations in Mueller's summary, Robert Mueller's summary, that there was no collusion. He left the door open a little bit for obstruction of justice, in that he did not specifically, and I'm talking about Barr, he did not specifically say, and there are no indictments having to do with obstruction of justice. But for any reasonable interpretation, you should know, if they had anything, any kind of proof or evidence leading to obstruction of justice, he would have issued a criminal referral. He did not. Now we've got an interesting situation, which has happened time and time and time again, except this time it's a little different. Of course, now we are told by the New York Times and the Washington Post that some of the people involved in the investigation, the prosecutors, the staff, I think 12, whatever number he had, that they are leaking out that there was more stuff in there. There was more evidence than Mueller apparently represented, or as Barr represented Mueller's report. Guys, do you understand that's illegal? If somebody in that team at any level, doesn't have to be the prosecutors working under Mueller, it doesn't have to be Mueller, it can be a secretary, it can be anybody involved with that team that handled grand jury materials. If they leak that to the press, that's a federal crime. And one of the things that I think is going to happen, and I think Lindsey Graham is going to actually do it, if these leaks, as they're portrayed, are real, and what I mean by that, if the New York Times and Washington Post just didn't make this up, if they didn't just make up the fact that they had a source, if it's real, then you can believe that Lindsey Graham is going to investigate just who leaked it, how it got out. It's going to be a whole different ball game under an investigation by Lindsey Graham than it is through the House. They are going to investigate the FISA warrants. They're going to investigate it. They're going to find out. You know, we still have not seen the actual FISA warrants, the public. But they have. And they're going to find out, to my knowledge, they have. And they're going to find out exactly what laws, if any, were broken in the way they represented to FISA those warrants, or the information they gave to get the warrants. One thing you need to know, as we've talked about forever, and I've told you over and over and over, that federal judges are all in, the majority of them. Certainly the ones that have to do with Washington, D.C., Virginia, and New York. FISA judges are part of the system. So I'm going to say they're just as much in the setup with the FISA warrants as was Comey. They're everywhere. We're going to have to get to the bottom of it as soon as some of the Mueller report is made public. When all of this comes out and the media hopefully gets over the feeding frenzy, there will soon then be at least 2 criminal referrals brought on by Devin Nunes, and maybe more. Now these will be low-level people involved in the Clinton Foundation and involved in Uranium One. The reason so that if they're thrown into a court and the court is as rigged as we suspect it to be, and we cannot get a change of venue, they do not want to waste, we do not want to waste criminals by getting the case thrown out. So it's best to start with low-level people. It'd be frustrating to you, but it's actually quite smart to go with low-level people. And that way, if by some chance they rig it and dismiss the cases so that they can't be prosecuted again for double jeopardy, then we haven't lost major players. But it's coming. But all of this said, it's down to this. As it stands right now, President Trump cannot win re-election. And here are the reasons why. Number one, they're going to impeach him. The reason Pelosi is trying to back off the impeachment stuff, she's not backing off of it, she's just trying to slow it down. Because the Democrats believe that there is no way a sitting president can possibly win the election if he's in the middle of his impeachment hearings. You got it? Now, that's a fairly reasonable assumption. It wouldn't be hard. They've even got more than that. As we talked on this program over and over and over, this race is down to getting your base out to vote. And just like Trump has a base, so too do the Democrats. The Democrats consider in their base, their soft base, that 60% that might not vote if for some reason they think their vote will not count or matter. Included in their base is certainly the black community. So they are introducing in the House reparations. And they are going to throw it out. As a matter of fact, as of yesterday, to my knowledge, every major announced Democratic candidate has officially come out in support of reparation for the blacks. This was done at some kind of convention the Reverend Al Sharpton had. And he posed that question to all the candidates. Now, the thing about reparation is, if you were in that black population, and the government sitting there saying, hey, we're going to pay you some X numbers of thousands of dollars. Nobody's even figured out a formula of how to do it yet. Probably never will. But it's just enough to dangle in front of the black population, the black community, that if the Democrat gets elected president, you're going to get all of this free money from the government. The House will probably introduce the legislation and pass it in the House. And as far as the public is concerned, certainly the black population in general, they're going to think since the House passed it that it's a real thing. It's not possible. It will never happen. If the House does it, and it goes before the Senate as the Senate stands today, there's a possibility it'll pass the Senate. I know you're saying, wait a minute, whoa, the Republicans have control of the Senate. No way. No. The rhinos in the Senate have got to run in this 2020 election season. So don't be surprised if they don't fall for reparations just so they can get reelected. But I'm going to say right now, most logically, it will not pass the Senate. And it will be dead. It will never happen. And of course, the Democrats are going to blame Republicans for not allowing reparations to pass. This is why I've told you, if Donald Trump loses the presidency in 2020, I promise you, if he loses, so too will the Republicans lose control of the Senate. It's not possible any other way. So they're going to get their base, black votes, to come out en masse, they believe, with reparations. Then they've got to sweeten it for the millennials. The millennials are talking about free education, but they're also talking about something that has not come public yet, but it's coming. And that is to liquidate all outstanding government student loans. Now, once again, if you're somebody that got out of college and you're sitting there with a $200,000 student loan that you have to pay for, and you're waiting tables because you didn't get that great big job that you thought you would get if you got that degree, if somebody's offering to wipe out that $200,000 debt you had, you may not even believe it's possible. But likely it's not. You can still vote just to see. There would be hope, so you would vote. So now there's going to be a huge number of millennials that are either in college trying to get their tuition paid free, or millennials that are out of college and have large student loans that they won't pay off. Those two things, along with the president being in the middle of an impeachment, almost certainly guarantee mathematically, statistically, that President Trump cannot win. Except there is one thing that we can do, that we've been trying to do, that we're going to have to do better at doing. And for those of you that part ways today and you're not going to be here in this program, you still need to understand it's your country too. And you better engage and you better fight for it now or it's going to be lost. The thing that can allow Trump to win is to energize his base. That's 60% of his base that's considered soft. And the way to do that is to bring it to the attention of everyone that we can get our hands on. That no matter who the Democratic nominee for president is, that person represents socialism. And they represent the transformation of our government to our form of government presently to socialism almost immediately. Now, President Trump's base, certainly the 60% of the soft base, is going to be made up most probably by older people that understand socialism and communism are bad. Millennials and younger don't think that. They've been brainwashed to believe otherwise. But Trump's base, the soft base particularly, is going to be older people. And if they firmly understand that if they don't come out and vote. Now, I know the soft base is not going to vote for the Democrat. Some people will think they're safe because they're not going to vote for Democrats. It's not the problem. The problem is, with all this against them and the way the media is going to play up the fact that Trump's behind and gambling, et cetera, there's a chance, a great chance, they'll stay home. But if we make it clear that if they do not vote, they are voting. If you don't vote in Trump's base, you do not vote, you are voting for socialism. You are casting your vote for socialism. And I pray the Lord that we can find a way to make sure that the people of this country understand exactly what we're talking about. Democrats being socialists. They have given us tools to use. Number one, they admit it. They're admitting it now. They're counting so heavily on the millennial vote that they're admitting it. And they're counting so heavily on the fact that Trump will be in the middle of impeachment and they have these sweetener gifts that they're tossing out there. That people will get disillusioned and just believe they can't win. Not to mention the fact that the media every day once the campaign starts is just going to tell you over and over how far behind Trump is and how he can't possibly win. All with the purpose of getting Trump's base to stay home and not vote. Your job. Every one of you listening to me now, your job is to tell as many people as you possibly can, as many times as you can, that we're fighting socialism. The final battle where socialism takes over this country, 2020, the last election. And for those that say, well, that doesn't make sense, let me give you another reason why it does make sense. Every day, more and more millennials are taking their rightful place in this country. More and more are going to start voting. We need to have something to say about the way the government's run. At the same time, every day, more and more people our age are dying off. So, my guess, my opinion, is this is probably the last election in 2020 when we will have a reasonable chance of having enough votes to stop socialism. Another 4 years after 2020, it is predicted we'll be short 20% of our age group, our population. And it's also predicted that the millennials will grow that much or more in the 4 years after the presidential election. So you see, there's not much chance after 2020. Not much at all. So, any other anybody sent question or comment as yet?
We've got a brand new person who's never been on with us before, and he said they need to come up with some uniform voter law to cut the corruption of voting out. Can you address that?
Well, they do, but they won't. We will have to worry about election fraud. You're the new person. There's voter fraud and there's election fraud. Voter fraud is when people go in and vote 3 or 4 times or 10 times or whatever. There's not enough of that to affect the election, typically. Election fraud, that's when it's done systematically. That's when it's done through the equipment, through the machines, through the system. That's the one that's got to be held in check. And there will be, President Trump has a team that will be working on that, and then I expect every one of us will have to be involved in poll watching the people vote, counting
those of us that live in sanctuary states and blue states, is there something we can do to help stop the illegal voting? That's also voter fraud, right?
Yes, that's voter fraud, and you stop that by being at the precinct and making your presence known. You know, when you get to a precinct, if they think you're watching, we've seen this before. Mary Ellen and I in a group that was working in 2016. If they know we're watching, if they know there are people watching, they don't do it as much. I'm not saying they don't. And I'm just saying they don't do it as much because they're paranoid. So we will have a plan. President Trump will have a plan, and then we will have a plan of exactly what to do to make our presence known and to cut back voter fraud. We will.
And might I add that we used militia groups in 2016. So if you are part of a militia group, contact us and let's get your militia group trained to help stop voter fraud in 2020.
Yes. Now, one thing we need to do, Mary Ellen, has anybody contacted you by text?
No, sir.
You got their information.
No.
So as we start the program, you know how to get in touch and tell them how to pick it up.
Only somebody who's already been a strong supporter and helper and contributor and participant.
All right, now folks, listen to me. If you have supported this program, if you have sent money,
Or made phone calls.
Continue the program. Going to continue the program. It's just not going to be for the general public. So you need this weekend to send word to Mary Ellen of how to get in touch with you, who you are, and how to get in touch with you so we can notify you of how to be listening to the program or participating. Mary Ellen, can you tell them how to do that?
Yeah, send a text. That's the best way to contact. Send a text to 240-499-6729. 240-499-6729.
All right, now, if they don't text, can they email you?
The best way is the text message because I've been too busy lately to check emails. So find some. If you don't have a way to do, Larry, if you don't have a way to do text message, there are plenty of kids around that you can borrow their phone and do it.
Let me ask you this: if they don't have a text message, can they call you at that number? I know it's a pain. But...
Yes.
All right. Now, folks, this is on you. You've got to notify, so we'll notify you. We've got to. I'm sorry, but the whole point of this is this program is dedicated to people that are willing to work and get involved and engage this entire matter. That means help some, yes. Not all about money, it's about knowing we got people that are with us, people that are on the team. So we'll announce, if we know who you are, we'll get a hold of you and let you know how to be a part of it. If we don't know, if we can't notify you, then we're going to miss you, and we don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I love you. I appreciate those of you that have been loyal and supportive.
I'm going to give my number again, 240-499-6729. I live in a small village with one cell tower, and I do not live near the cell tower. So text messages come through, phone calls don't always. I can see that it's ringing. I can pick up. You may not be able to hear me. So if you call or text and we can't talk, I will call you back from my landline so that we can communicate better.
All right.
And
guys, I'm sorry.
we have a question about whether you're going to be on a conference call or what are we going to do. That has not been determined yet that I know of. We are considering several options, and we just have to work on some details to get figured out how it happens. So Larry is always on with Jason Goodman at this time on Tuesdays. So you can always get information from Jason Goodman, Crowdsource the Truth. He's got 2 different YouTube channels, Jason Goodman and Crowdsource the Truth, and both of those channels carry his live interview at 2 Central on Tuesdays.
You know, guys, I want to look at some other, I'm looking at other options. One is obviously something like Patreon. Patreon is a pay-per-view thing, but it's like $1 a month. But that's exclusive. So we've got that. We're talking about a conference call. The problem with a conference call, when you get a lot of people on the conference call, the noise is so bad, it's hard to hear, it's hard to understand. But don't worry, we'll have a suitable, hopefully a better program starting next week. We will. And folks, there's a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot of stuff you need to know about. I'll be able, hopefully next week, to give you more detail of the criminal referrals that are coming. I think I'll be allowed to give you more. And I'll be able to tell you a little bit more of what's coming from the prosecutor, from the investigation, from Graham's committee. That's one of the reasons I want to stop talking to people that are not helping, because I don't know. I don't know who I'm talking to. And the information that you're going to be getting from this program is designed to keep you informed and to give you information so that you can tell others and gain credibility. See, that's what it's all about. And that's what worries me with so many people picking up on these stories from that Q and these other things that are out there. I'm not saying they're not right some of the time. I guess they are. But the problem is, so much of the time, they're not. And I'm not picking on Q. I'm talking about all of these rumor things, the 60,000 indictments, et cetera, the tribunals, all of that kind of stuff. When you try to pass that on to people that you talk with, when you tell them something's coming and it doesn't come, you lose credibility, and then we lose that potential supporter, that potential helper, that potential American that we need in this fight. We lose them. You can't do that.
And when we say support,
stay with what is true, what can be proven in a court of law. And as I'll tell you, rules are simple. It's either provable or court of law. And I tell you, well, I'll tell you, it's my opinion. If I'm giving you something that I got from a source, I'll tell you the source. That's important. You were going to say something, Naomi?
yeah, you were talking about people being part of our support network. It's not just the funding support. We need people who are supporting the cause of spreading the word, never socialism. People are going to help with the election campaigns and promote the never socialism message so that we can win in 2020 and we can keep our president in the White House, keep him as our leader, because without him, we will become a socialist country. And if we end up with a rhino defeating him in the primary, we're back in the same boat. A rhino or a Democrat is still going to take us into socialism.
Absolutely. So that you know, why do I put so much emphasis on y'all sending something? And how many times have I told you, can't you just send $1? $5, $10, $500, $1,000, but $1. And guys, part of what we're going to do as we near the election, or as we get involved in all of this, part of what we're going to do, there are going to be times when you're going to have a script, and you're going to be asked to make 10 phone calls a day. 10. And you're going to be asked to do that for a couple of weeks. But we all do it together, and we all read the same script, and it has a huge impact. But what we have to look at is if somebody won't even send $1, then I am a fool to believe that that person, when the time comes, will make the phone calls. If you got no skin in the game, if you're not going to do anything, then I'm sorry, I have to consider you as not somebody that will be there making the calls. I'm sorry. If you were in that shape or in that position, you'd feel the same way. And to the people that have supported and have chipped in, you have no idea how much I respect you and how much I value you and how proud I am of you. This is all of our country. It's not just mine. It's not just mine and Mary Ellen. It's not just ours and a handful of people. It's everybody's duty to try to save this country. All of us. But we have to find people that are willing to work. Now, if 10 phone calls a day with the max time being about 2 minutes, 20 minutes a day, for 10 days. If that's too much to ask of somebody, then you really don't give too much of a damn about this country. Now, since this is the last program, if you've got any messages or comments, get them in now.
We've got two questions. Somebody says, I remember when you said if Biden joins the race, we're in trouble. Is that still true?
Yes.
And why?
Biden will be able to come in, and because of the money he'll have, and because of the democratic system, remember what Hillary did to Bernie Sanders. He comes in, he will represent the old guard Democratic Party. And in a primary, that's going to be tough to beat for these newbies. Now, it seems like right now, this young blood is going to beat him hands down. That's not true. Primaries are based off of money. And then if he gets the nomination, the problem is he's able to soften the socialism image that the young ones are putting out. That's what I worry about him. Biden is smart enough that he will calm down and not talk about socialism the way these young people are doing. It'll be harder to beat when they're not.
Okay, one other question. Will Kamala Harris's plan of letting Dreamers be interns on Capitol Hill be legal?
It will not be legal. It will not be legal. Now, does that mean it won't happen? No. How many times have we seen cases like that Justice Smollett? I mean, things that used to be normal and against the law, legal, not legal, none of that matters now. So there is a possibility they'll do it, but it's not legal. It would be wrong.
It seems then that a lot of people will be able to get away if they're in power in D.C. There's a lot of things they can hire illegals, and there's a lot of things that would have been a problem that they'll just do whatever they want.
Exactly right. This new socialist movement, and it's not so. Let me take it back. this new progressive movement, which all of you know means socialism, but this progressive movement allows for just changing everything. They hold no value to our Constitution. They hold no value to our legal system at all. They don't value it. They don't even can't consider it. They do their own rules. And the bad news is they're getting by with it.
And they're in the club, quote, club, end quote, that where they look out for one another. And so they cover for one another and they all get away with whatever.
Mhm. Anybody else got a question?
I don't see any more.
All right, folks, this is your last chance. So I will offer one more time for question or comment before we say goodbye.
While we're waiting for somebody to type something, I want to remind you that Larry's PayPal account is nicholslive@aol.com and the website is nicholslive.com. And there are links to ways to donate there. There's links to the merchandise we have for sale. We're pushing the t-shirt, the Never Socialism t-shirt, because it has a message that will help stimulate people coming up to you and talking about it and asking about it, making comments about it. It'll give you a chance to talk about what you have learned here.
It truly is important, guys. The t-shirt is not a money-making gimmick. Not at all. When you see what we pay, because we have to do it one at a time, essentially, cost is high. I can't deny it. And I hear, people talk about, well, the t-shirt's too big or this, that, or the other. Let me tell you why I used the t-shirt that we chose, which the reason we chose the one we did. During the summer, it's hard for ladies to wear like a white t-shirt because their undergarments show through. So I know that's corny, but that's just the truth. So I had to find one big enough to protect that. Our logo, for it to do what it does, by design, it's to reach out like a neon sign and get people's attention. The reason I did that is because I know it's hard for y'all. I mean, how do you walk up to somebody you don't know and just start a conversation about socialism? It's hard. I know it. This shirt, and we've tested it, this shirt triggers people coming to you and asking about it. Plus the shirt, I believe, is nice, and I believe there's an element of class. It's not just some, concert throwaway t-shirt or some hard rock cafe t-shirt type thing. Hopefully it's something you'd be proud of. But get it. Get the t-shirt. Let it work. Let it do what it's supposed to do. Guys, without any questions.
One more question. It says these people are pathological liars. Do you see any hope of fighting this, or is a revolution on the horizon?
Well, you're not going to like my answer. Ladies and gentlemen, started. We're in a weird seat for this revolution. We're trying to defend what we have. While there's this vast group, progressives, liberals, millennials, there's this vast group of people that are trying to do away with our Constitution.
And the push towards socialism is becoming obvious how far down the path we are to it being complete. They taste it and they want it the rest of the way, and they are going to fight very, very hard over the next 2 years to complete the changeover.
Yes. And if you don't believe me or Mary Ellen, that's okay. That's okay. But surely you see what 5 or 10 years ago would not dare be uttered. You would never hear socialism. You wouldn't. Now they boast about being socialist. Think about that. Think of the magnitude of what I just told you. When you see all of these Democratic presidential nominees standing up and claiming that they're democratic socialists, oh, that's in your face. That's being bold. They're not hiding it any longer. They're all in. Don't you see that? I mean, I've done such a horrible job with this program that y'all don't even see that. I don't want my failure with this program to be one of the things that helps hurt our country. I don't. I just want to do my part. I want to do what I do. Anybody else, Mary Ellen?
No, that's it. So I'm going to say thank you. And remember, the website is nicholslive.com. Larry's PayPal is nicholslive@aol.com. And anything you can do to help support Larry and what he has to accomplish from day to day would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And yes, they're expending all their ammunition and being very upfront about it, David. My cell phone number I will put under here. The website and the PayPal are both listed under the video here. We will put up a notice on YouTube here so that you will know something about what's happening. It'll be a reminder of Jason's show with Larry on Tuesdays. And if I have your contact,
you must let us know how to contact you.
Exactly.
We're not going to bug you. We're not going to send you. We're not getting on the mail list. We're going to send out crap. We're not going to do that. This is one time we got to know how to let you know how to be on their show, how to be a part of it.
All right, folks.
So with that, Marilyn, thank you for all you've done.
Yeah.
And guys, good day.
Thanks, folks. Bye.